So listen, it is official. October 21st, we are all heading, or hopefully heading, to the federal election polls. So, it is interesting time because one pollster told the Globe and Mail this election comes down to what leader you dislike the least. Okay, let's talk about likability in these leaders. What is it for you, ladies? Is it party platform or is it the face of the party that's going to guide your vote?
I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah,
I think I listen for the platforms and the policies, but I also have to not necessarily like the leaders, but it's a question of who I distrust the least, right? And I do think that trusting and liking are different. I don't have to like a leader. I can think certain leaders are super thirsty, because there are some thirsty leaders in our country. Meaning I wouldn't want to be their friends and want to hang out with them, but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't think that they would follow through and trust that they would follow through on their platforms. Like, those are two different things. So there are plenty of leaders I dislike, but it doesn't mean that I don't not trust them. Mm-hmm. So that's where I look at it. Yeah. So it's a combination of both, as it should be, but I guess it's the percentage. Like, if we're all honest, what is the percentage of what you base on the platform knowledge versus the trustability, likability factor?
I feel like it's most people, if you've been voting for a while, you've been like paying attention, you're kind of like, okay, there's a platform and they'll make all kinds of promises and basically like maybe 10% of those promises will come true, right? So they can promise the sun and the moon and the stars, but what you have to pay attention to is past track record of that party, what that party tends to focus on, and if that aligns with your most core beliefs. I think that, I think people do end up voting for the party more than the person. What do you think?
Yeah, I think absolutely people vote for the party, but I think that this is going to be a really interesting election because we all know what's happening around the world. We all know what's happening south of the border. Don't think for a moment we don't follow and are influenced by what is happening around the world. So you have to look and think, what do I want to prevent happening? How can we do that? How can we stay united in beliefs that we're true to, that are definitely Canadian beliefs, in rights for all, for diversity, for women, for LGBTQ? What are those rights that we can stand beside and make sure we don't splinter our left, which is what we tend to do, right? Because those are our core beliefs.
On the likability issue, Jess on Facebook writes, what does it matter how nice they are if they don't stand where you stand on the important matters, as you say, Wendy? It's like saying my doctor is really nice, but his patients die all the time. But he's super nice and friendly, so that makes it okay, right? There was an interesting piece by political analyst Scott Reed in the Globe and Mail recently, and he went down a list of the ballot issues from SNC-Lavalin to our economy, to healthcare, to Indigenous rights. And he said, those are all important issues, but to him, the biggest ballot issue is the man south of the border, and that would be Donald Trump. And he said because he is a man that will affect and impact our economy, our trade, our national defense, the environment, depending on where he goes with all of that. And so when it comes to electing a leader, you really have to look at who can handle the man south of the border.
That's right.
And I thought, it's interesting.
I know everybody keeps talking party, and I don't disagree because I always have voted for the party that reflects my values and beliefs. But guys, politics is performance. Maybe not as much here as it is south of the border, but like a TV reality star is the president of the United States. That's not by accident. Like, I know, I mean, if you're looking at qualifications, that's not an accident. And, you know, I've said it on the show many times before, but when the United States sneezes, Canada catches a cold. And so I fully agree with what you say and what that writer was saying. And the idea that, you know, depending on where you're leaning, you could be swayed by a super charismatic leader that may not be the party of your choosing if they can sweep you up and make you believe. And so do not underestimate the power of a charismatic leader regardless of their belief system. For me personally, I now have a 5-year-old daughter. Of course, I'm voting on my beliefs and what I think should be universal rights for all peoples across this country, starting with our Indigenous people, but also because this is a country that I'm voting for my daughter. what are we leaving them?
Yeah.
I need to vote today, but I need to vote for a party that I hope will have the steam to last into the next and next and next federal elections, where my daughter is inheriting that world. Like, what world are we going to give our children? I'm voting for that today.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.